So you want to take a picture of someone outside on a bright day, like a really sunny day. You want to use a camera with a fixed lens so you can't zoom, no flash, all natural light, and you want it to be a good, creative, fun picture. All right, I'm going to walk you through it step by step and show you exactly how I do it. Let's go. As always, don't forget to check out my podcast. It's called Photobomb. It's available anywhere that podcasts are found. It's a great show. We've been going for 5 years now. Every week, you will love it, I promise. Join my group on Facebook. It's called Pro Photo Talk with Boo Ray Perry. Great community there. And if you want to get some gear, if you want to see all the equipment that I use, both when I travel and I shoot with my X100V, and also when I shoot professionally with weddings and bar mitzvahs and portraits and headshots, everything is listed on my website, and all the links are right down there in the description under Boo Ray's Gear. You can find everything that I use there, and if you click on those links and you buy something, I get $1 or $2, and it helps me to keep this channel going, and I really, really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button while you're at it. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go outside in Florida in August in the middle of the day, and we're going to take a picture of my daughter. And we're going to make it good, and we're going to make it clean, and it's going to look nice, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to look like it was shot by a professional photographer, because I am a professional photographer, but I am going to show you how I do it step by step, walk you through it, and you will be able to do the same thing with this camera, the Fuji X100V. Now, if you don't have this camera, you can do it with any camera. Believe me, this camera actually has limitations. For example, I can't change the lenses on this camera. I don't have an optical zoom on this camera. The reason I'm using this camera is to show that you don't have to have a super expensive fancy camera to take a good picture of somebody. You just have to know how to use what's available to you. That being said, this is a really great camera, and I love it. So here we go. Let's get started. First, let's take a look at what we've got to work with. This is my backyard. It is very hot here in Florida, very sunny. It's summertime, and this is what my backyard looks like. So the first thing you do when you're going to take a picture of somebody outside is you take a look at your surroundings. You say, what have I got to work with? So if you look around the backyard, you see, here's our area, and here's what we've got to work with. Now, most people, when they first start shooting, they tend to think way too much about the environment and the background. You know, I get this all the time when I'm working on jobs. People say, oh, take our picture in front of this. And they don't realize that most of the time, you don't really want to be in front of something that's important, because it's hard for you to look good and the thing also to look good. I'm either taking a picture of you or I'm taking a picture of the thing. You know, if I'm going to put the two of you together, it might take a lot of work to get that to come out really good, you know. So try to focus on one thing. What's important here? And I decided that what I wanted to do was take a picture of my daughter, mostly a headshot picture, you know, shoulders up, that was fun and smiley and interesting, but not just, you know, cold and typical, but something that was unique, something that was kind of cool. That's my focus. That's what I want to do. And it's a good idea to have a focus when you start. Start by saying, what do I want to achieve? What do I want my final image to look like? Shoot with a purpose. It'll be much easier for you to reach a goal if you know what the goal is. So here's my backyard. It's very bright outside, and I specifically wanted to do this on a very bright day because I didn't want to do it when it was easy. If it's a cloudy day, it's really easy to take this picture. But I wanted to show you what I would do if it was not a cloudy day and it was super bright and horrible. So here's the backyard, and you can see that it's bright in some spots and it's shady in other spots. So the first thing that most people are going to do, if they've learned anything at all about photography, one of the first rules that you'll learn is put the sun at your back. It just makes sense. If the sun is behind you, then it's shining in the face of your subject and it's illuminating them. So put the sun at your back. So that's the first thing I did. I put the sun at my back. My camera, by the way, is on full auto at this point. Everything in my camera is set to auto. I'm just letting my camera do its own thing. I don't want to overcomplicate things at this moment. I just want to find out where I need to put her for the picture. So this is full auto, And her face is lit by the sun. Okay, fine. You can see there's some problems there. There's some shadow there on her face. There's heavy shadow on one eye, on one side. But that could be corrected by turning her head a little bit more directly into the sun. The problem is that sun is so unbelievably bright that she can't possibly stand there and smile for the camera for very long. She immediately was like, Dad, this is hurting my eyes. I can't do this. I said, I know, sweetie. I'm not going to take your picture here. My point is to show that this is a horrible place to take pictures. So just bear with me for a couple of pictures. So we know now that the sun is too bright for me to put the sun behind me and in the face of my subjects. So how do you get the sun out of her face? Well, you flip her around. Now we're cooking with gas. We flipped her around. The sun is now behind her, so her face is in shadow. Her head will provide a shadow for her face. So now she can look at me and look natural and be fine. However, the sun is still going to cause some problems for me because as you see, it's coming in really hot on the top of her head. See this bright hot spot here? See the hot spot beside her cheek here? See the hot spots on her shoulders? These are not good. Right? These are the sort of things that people don't notice when they first start taking pictures because we've seen pictures like that our whole life. But the more you become a professional photographer, the more you become a serious hobbyist, the more you begin to see the light and recognize, oh, there's a bad light situation here. And this is a bad light situation. Another thing that's bad about it is that if the sky is in this picture, see here, the sky is almost completely overexposed. Her face is actually underexposed. So if I correct this later and bring her face up, the sky is going to be completely white. You don't want that, right? So on a hot day, bright sun, you can't just put the sun behind your subject. It's not going to work. You're going to blow out the background. You're going to have problems with hard light hitting on top of her head or her shoulders. So that's not going to work either. So we got to get her out of the sun. All right, we've ruled out the sun. What's next? Well, next thing is shade. All right, let's take over and put her in some shade. Now let's see what we got here. We've got even light. Right? No hard light hitting her shoulders, no hard light hitting the top of her head, even light all the way all over her body. So now we say that's it. That's the ticket. Shade. That's what we need. We call it open shade. We're going to put her in the open shade, and that's where we're going to take her picture. So we've solved our first problem, which is where's the good light? Now we know where the light is. Problem number 2, what's the background going to be? Now that we've found good light, can we find good background inside that light? So I start looking around my yard for open shade. And next to my pool, I have this nice deck here. Lots of open shade there. The tree is throwing shade there. The house is throwing shade there. So let's put her in a couple of places. By the way, you can see we did some work on the stucco on the house and we haven't painted it yet. So that's why the big gray marks on the house because I'm not going. It's 95 degrees. I'm not going to climb on the roof and paint the stucco. It can wait till winter. So we've got lots of open shade here. So let's find a place in the open shade where we can put her. Well, my first choice is right there with all the greenery behind her. Okay, that's choice number 1. That's a fallback choice because it'll work. But you're still going to have some problems because you can see that anywhere the sky is coming through is going to be blown out and super white. And also, the background, although it's blurry, it's not that deep, mushy blur. I want it to be a deep, mushy blur. This is at f4. But even at f2, it's not quite going to be where I want it to be. And the reason for that is that because we're using a camera that has a fixed 35mm equivalent lens, we have to get relatively close. And that's going to help us with our mushy blur, for the most technical term there, mushy blur. But not the way that if we were using a long telescopic lens and we could back up and zoom in, which would not only give us the blurry background, but would also expand the background and make it very, very big. So instead of these very small, little tiny, sharp leaves, it would be bigger and mushier, right? And that's kind of what you want for that sort of a picture. So this is a fallback. I want to find someplace better than this. Before I do that, well, I'm sorry, I did do that. Here's step number 2. I took over to the wall by the house and I said, this wall could work. I can put her here. I can put the wall behind her. I'm not going to have all the sharp greenery. This is going to be the spot that I want to take her photograph. Now, we're trying to head off a question right now that I'm probably going to get in the comments. And that question is going to be about the digital zoom on the Fuji X100V. If you're using a camera with a digital zoom, it's a fixed lens and you're just using a digital zoom, you have to understand that the digital zoom doesn't actually change your image. All it is a crop. It doesn't change your image. So like for this sample, for example, I was actually shooting in two formats. I was having the camera write JPEGs and write RAWs. And when you use a digital zoom on this camera, it will zoom in the JPEG, but not the RAW. So this is what you're shooting with the camera. But the JPEG looks like this, zoomed in. But it is exactly the same picture. Her face distortion does not change because you've digitally zoomed in. The background does not compress and move in the way it does with an optical zoom. Your depth of field doesn't change. None of that stuff changes. All it is a crop. If I took this picture and I cropped it so it was the same size as this picture, they would be identical. So that's important to understand. Using the digital zoom can be a nice composition tool when you're shooting, especially if you can do this with a camera where you can shoot in RAW and JPEG, because using the digital zoom will allow you to zoom in and compose right there in the camera. And then when you get home, you'll have the RAW, which is full size. So you don't have to worry that you maybe, I cropped too tight, I zoomed in too close. You don't have to worry because when you get home, you also have this. And you can recrop it all over again, right? So you can do whatever you want. You take, once you get home, you can do that if you want to. Excuse me. So the important part of this lesson is digital zoom is just a crop. That's it. Don't be fooled into thinking it's the same as an optical zoom because it's not. So back to our wall. We now have our location. So we've gone through step 1 is find the light. Step 2 is find the background. The next step is to compose it and shoot it. Okay, we're not quite done with the light yet. Because even though she is an open shade, the light is still going to be entering that area from a direction. And it will make a difference in your photograph. So let's take a look. This is me facing her and she's got her back to the wall. So the light is coming straight in, basically from my back. Even though the sun is not behind me, the sun is in front of me behind that house. As far as the shade is concerned, the sun is coming from behind me. Now, if you turn her to one side, in this picture you'll see how one side of her face is brighter than the other? This is what I meant when I talked about you have to see the light. You start to see the light. The minute she turns her head, I notice that one side of her face is a little bit darker than the other side of her face. Turn her the other way, same thing. This side of her face right here is darker than this side. You can see the light falling off. And this can work to your advantage. You can use this. If that's the sort of light you want for this photograph, you can use that to your advantage. This is how you can be outdoors and shoot an open shade, but still have some control over the direction of the light. You just turn your subject in the open shade and take a look at the light. It just takes a second. Just takes a second to turn their head left and right and see where the light is coming from and be aware of it and then work with it to make your picture better. So, there she is. Let me zoom out. There's my shot. This is where I'm going to put her. And you can see it's good, even light coming straight in. Perfect. And this is my final, right? That's my final. Cropped in, nice, even light on her face. I've turned her head just a little bit to the side, so she's getting a little bit of fall off around this eye right here, which gives her a little depth and a little dimension and makes her face pop just a little bit more. And this is a good, nice picture of my daughter. However, I want to go a little bit better than that. So I had a purpose when I came out. I said I want to take something that's fun, right? Something that's a little more interesting than just a picture of you. I said, bring a pair of sunglasses, and she did. So she brought a pair of sunglasses out, and we started taking pictures with the sunglasses, right? She was putting the sunglasses on, just messing around with them, trying different things. Pop, pop, pop. Let's see what we get. Lots of different little pictures with the sunglasses, right? When we're all said and done, this was the one that I liked the most. And when you crop in, this is what you get. And this is my final picture out of camera. All right, so let's recap it from the beginning. You go out, you're going to take a picture. The first thing you want to do is put them in the sun. You realize the sun doesn't work, you flip them around and you let the sun come behind them. You realize you could do better. You take them to open shade. Now we've got good light to work with. We've solved our light problem. The next question, find the best place in the open shade to take the picture. I like this because this is too distracting. This is nice. Let me make sure I'm clear. This is nice if your goal is to say, here's my daughter in this location. Like if you were on vacation in Florida and you want to take a picture of your daughter, then this is the picture, this is the location you would use, because it would be, here's my daughter, and also here's all of these green trees that are everywhere in Florida. All right. You're also trying to have a sense of environment. But my goal wasn't to do that. I wanted my picture really to be all about my daughter, not really about the environment at all. So I took her away from all of this and put her against a wall where it's really just about her. She's the only thing that's interesting in the frame. So I've got the right light, I've got the right background. Then I add a little twist, something to make it interesting, something to make it more fun. I crop it in, and there's my final image. And that's a good final image. That's a great picture. A little bit later, you start to learn how to do retouching, and you get to this, right? That's a fine picture. That's a fine portrait shot with a Fuji X100V fixed lens camera and no flash in my backyard. And I'm telling you, if I went out to do this and I wasn't trying to teach it and I was just going to go out and do it, it would take me all of about 90 seconds to do it. Because I know that when I walk you through this whole process and we start here and I talk about the light and where it comes from, that if you've never done this before, you're just starting out, it could be pretty daunting. You're like, all these things I have to learn about light direction and location and background. Yeah, but if you do it all the time, if you keep practicing one thing at a time, eventually it becomes second nature to you. So when I walk out in the yard, on my way out, before we even get out there, I know, it's in the middle of the afternoon. We're going to have to shoot open shade. Because you're not going to be able to shoot any place but open shade in Florida in the middle of the afternoon, unless it's a cloudy day. If it's a really cloudy day, you can do it. But you just look up, no clouds, okay, open shade. So my first couple of steps are automatically skipped. I don't even have to do those steps. I go straight to open shade. And then once I go to open shade, because I knew going out there, because I had an idea of what I wanted to do, I said, you know what? I want to do something that's just her face. I don't want to have a lot of distractions. So once I got to the lighting situation where I knew where I wanted to be, which was open shade, I was quickly able to be, okay, no, these trees aren't going to be good. Let's move her here. And then because I thought in advance and said, let's bring a pair of sunglasses or something to make the picture more interesting, I was able to get to here and then crop it to here, and I'm done. 90 seconds probably start to end is how long it would take me to pick up my camera and say, let's go out the yard and take a picture. And to get to this. And then, again, a little bit later, you retouch it, and you get to that. In conclusion, remember that it's an old chestnut, but it's absolutely true, that it's not the camera, it's the photographer. All right? It's not about the gear. It's about understanding light, location, composition, pose. Those four things. If you can find the right light, and then a good location within the light, and then compose your image well, and then pose your model well, you're always going to have a fantastic picture when it's all said and done. Anyone can do it, including you with your Fuji X100V or any other camera that you happen to pick up, including your cell phone. All right, so just get out there and start shooting. Pick one thing at a time. Say, you know what, I'm just going to go out in the yard today and I'm going to just work on seeing the light. I'm going to work on looking at the pictures. One of the reasons that I didn't take a camera and videotape myself outside doing this is because it's unbelievably hot. I would have been out there for an hour and it would have been horrible. But the other reason was that I think a lot of times it's lost in people when they're just watching a live demonstration with someone shooting live, that what you really need to do is look at the pictures. When you look at the pictures and you can really see the things you don't notice when you're doing it live. You can see, oh, the hair is overexposed and there's light on the shoulder or there's a shadow by the nose. So go out, shoot a bunch of pictures, then go back and look at them and say, what's wrong with this picture? And the more you do that, the more you can spot the flaws in your images, the closer you will be to eliminating those flaws before you ever click the shutter. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.